Hello, welcome back to the Healthy GSO podcast. This is Dr. Aaron LeBauer, your host, and today my special guest is Tyler Benedict. Tyler is a friend of mine. We used to ride bikes a lot together. He created a Bike Rumor, which is a tech blog about cycling. But Tyler also introduced me to one of my mentors, Kelly Starrett. So Kelly is a physical therapist, and I found out about him from hanging out with Tyler. And so I want to bring Tyler on the show. So Tyler, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, let me move that. So, well, it's been a while since we got out and ridden bikes. Part of it's my life's changed and I haven't ridden as much, although last year I started riding again.
Awesome.
So I'd love to know like a little bit about and share with, I know a little bit about you, but like share with the listeners, what is it that you do? And I know that, so can you talk a little bit about not just Bike Rumor, but man, you get out on your bike pretty much every time. I think you guys are into parkour and some other things. So what are some of the things that you do here in Greensboro and who are some of the people that you help?
Yeah, sure. I mean, what I do is kind of a laundry list of stuff just because I tend to act on whatever is interesting to me at the moment. But the main thing is bikerumor.com, which is, like you said, a cycling tech site that I launched way back in 2008 and has grown into one of the largest cycling websites in the world. So it's been super fun to grow that, and it's opened up a lot of opportunities for travel and stuff. But it's, honestly, like Greensboro makes a great home base for that because we've got some pretty killer trails here right in town that I can literally ride out my front door and, in 10, 15 minutes, I'm on single track. So
Yeah,
definitely loving that. Over the years, I've learned quite a bit about content. So I do a lot of content marketing and I do some speaking and consulting on that stuff. And I actually have a newsletter for that if people want to check out bite-sized content. Bites, too many things. But I'm guessing you can put some links to stuff in there in the show notes for this. And, you mentioned parkour. It's one of the things we really like about Greensboro is like we live downtown and downtown has a lot of cool structures and buildings and walls and this, that, and the other, parking decks that you can really just go play on. It's kind of like a little urban jungle gym playground. And on Sundays, for better or worse, downtown's kind of vacant. So it's a little bit free reign to climb on stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Whether we should or not. Yeah.
If people are listening and they don't know what parkour is, can you explain it in 30 seconds?
Oh yeah. It's basically just like trying to, I think the technical definition is moving from point A to point B as quickly and smoothly as possible, regardless of what's in your way. So, and it's just getting up and over and around and under and through things, more fluidly, and if you just, go on YouTube and type the word parkour, you're going to find some pretty rad stuff that does a good job of showing that off.
Yeah. It's kind of like the fantasy version is the Kung Fu guys or James Bond climbing the walls, like, kicking it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's pretty
way
intense.
harder than it looks.
That's awesome. And are you still riding bicycles?
Oh yeah. Yeah. A few days a week for sure. I mean, for fun, but also, it's just part of the job, right? Like I've got to ride bikes to test them and review them and know what I'm talking about for the website. So,
yeah. Do you have like a regular schedule for like working out or riding, or do you just kind of do what feels right?
Yeah, more the latter, or what the weather allows to. I mean, it's this time of year for winter-ish in Greensboro, it tends to be pretty wet, so mountain biking happens a little less, but you can get out on the cross bike or gravel bike or road bike. So.
Oh, that's great. So I mentioned in the intro the one of the coolest things was we were hanging out at your house, and I think it was after one of our indoor training sessions we did. You showed me the Supple Leopard book by Kelly Starrett, and I had never actually seen it before or seen what was in there, and you were explaining what it was, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta go look this guy up. Can you tell me a little bit about like how did you because this is before we met, like how did you get to the point where you knew you needed to start kind of taking care of your body in a different way? Like, have you always been doing that, or was there something that happened over time? You're like, all right, I need to get on a ball and work on some mobility and do those, like kind of exercises and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've always been fairly active, but it was, as a kid, you're just kind of like active because it's fun and you want to go do stuff. And as we age, I think we start to realize the limitations of our, functionality, mobility. And of course, you also gain the hindsight of being like, man, if I had just taken better care of myself or been stronger or been faster, I could do more things now. So part of it is just me trying to make up for lost time, and then maintain the ability to, run around and play with my kids who are now 13 and 16. And, keeping up with them is a whole nother level. And it's like, man, I try and stay in shape, and for them, it's effortless, right? Like I ride all the time, and I get my son out there and he's just like almost keeping up with me. And I'm like, dude, you never ride. Like what, how? Right. So a big part of it for me is just trying to not lose that edge now and maintain flexibility and mobility, and really like just be a functional human being. So I think part of the motivation is I think about when I see people even my age or younger who are unable to do basic things. And then I think about like older, when I'm 70, 80, 90, maybe hopefully even like 100, like I still want to be able to take my suitcase and put it up in the overhead bin, right? I want to be able to have the grandkids or great grandkids run full speed into me and not break something on me. So I try and think like, okay, well, what are the things I need to be doing now to build that strength and that foundation, that flexibility, so that 10, 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 years from now, I'm not a worthless person that's reliant on everybody else to do everything for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's important. Like one of my goals is by the time I'm 85, I still want to be able to cut my own toenails. So I have to be able to touch my feet, bend over, right? Like I know that things are going right if I can do that.
Yeah. I mean, crap, when I was a kid, I could put my, like Weird Al Yankovic style, like put my leg behind my head. And I was like, that's a distant memory for sure. But, like if I can still kind of get down and touch my toes easily, or put my, the goal for me is still be able to put my hands flat on the ground without arching my back or bending my knees. So.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I know that at least a few years ago, you guys did as part of your job with Bike Groomer was to travel around to different bike shows, and you guys got an RV and traveled around the country, right? Have you still been doing that, or?
Well, last year, obviously COVID and stuff, a little bit less so, but yeah, we've got some trips coming up, but we downsized a little bit. So we've got a custom Ford Transit, like full size, full height and all that, but it's about half the size of what our RV was for sure. So yeah, awesome. Definitely still road tripping it.
Cool. So when you're on the road, are you taking your bikes, or are you taking like rollers? Are you taking anything that so that you can stay with your exercise and workout routine? Or is there anything that you guys are doing to make sure you're eating healthy? Like, do you guys have like like some tips or a plan, or like how you guys are doing it? Because I know it's very hard for people.
Yeah, I mean, just don't do fast food is the easy one, right? Like our idea of fast food is usually like Moe's, Chipotle, Qdoba, just because there's a little more control over what you're getting in the food. And we just love burritos too. Like it's probably, we love burritos. And then it also is like healthier and easier to kind of make your food healthier and stuff. But we bring a lot of food with us too. Yeah, as far as equipment or like what we're bringing bikes, it sort of depends on where we're going. For us being in the industry, sometimes we're just going we're using a bike event as an excuse to get from here to there and whatever meandering route that we want. So sometimes some of the events are taken care of for us, and then we'll just hike or, hit climbing gyms or whatever along the way. Ninja Warrior gyms are super fun. Breaks up that monotony of 13, 14-hour road days for sure.
That's awesome. Do you plan like your travel around your workout? Sometimes, or?
I do. I guess I never thought about it that way. I mean, I do try and like, once I know where we need to be, then I'm looking anywhere within this like range of space on Google Maps, like, okay, well, what's not too far out of the way if there's something cool there? And I've got like, I don't know, probably 20 something Ninja Warrior gyms and climbing gyms starred on my Google Maps. So I can like look and see wherever I see little yellow dots. I'm like, all right, there's something cool there. Let's do that one this time.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think it was one of those differences I realized with my wife, Andra, is we were going on some vacations back in like 2019, 2018, pre-COVID. I was like, oh, there's a yoga class here. There's CrossFit there. We're going to do this. And she's like, wait, we're on vacation. I'm like, I know. She's like, I want to sleep in and not work out all the time. And I'm like, let's go to all these places and work out. So that's where that idea of like planning it around. But it's hard to, if you travel a lot, to stay into a routine. Wouldn't you agree? Like
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's best laid plans, right? Like we tend to bring a lot of healthy food with us. Sometimes we get home and half that food's still in the cupboards and cans because you
yeah.
just like sometimes you need that mental, emotional, physical break of just, eating whatever. Or, too, it's like you're going somewhere new, you want to try the food and the meals there. So it's really just about not going to places that
Mhm.
serve crappy food, right? And then making
Right.
smart selections. I don't know.
Yeah. Have you noticed over the years, I'll get back to cycling a little bit because I'm a cycling geek myself, but have you noticed over the years that your like exercise on the bike nutrition has changed, or is it stayed the same? Like, have you played with it? I know you probably get access to a lot of different bars and foods and things like that. Are there certain things that you like that work well for you, or that you're like, I would never eat that unless someone sent it to me and I had to try it?
Yeah. I mean, I used to try all the gels and bars and supplements and all that, thinking that would make me faster, hoping
Mhm.
that would make me faster. And what I realized is it really just comes down to like training well and
Right.
smart. And I think the smart element of that comes into play the older you get for sure. Like, you don't recover as fast as you want. As much as I like to think I'm still young, like I know that I can't go ride 4 days in a row without really paying a price, right? I can ride like super hard one day in a row, take a few days off, do it again,
Mhm.
or moderate that. So what I found is that like I really don't need or even want very many supplements anymore. I'll use a
Mhm.
sports drink if I know I'm going to be out for a long time just to help stay hydrated. But for shorter rides, it's usually just water now. And I've even pretty much, unless somebody sends me something for free because they're expensive, like
Yeah.
I really almost shy away from recovery drinks. And what I found is like so much of that stuff is loaded with artificial sweeteners, and just like junk. And I'm like, I just don't even want to put that in my body anymore.
Yeah. When I was racing and we were sponsored by Cliff Bar, I had Cliff Bars coming out my ears and I always finished rides hungry. And then I took a break, and it was back when I started riding with you and Ben. And Andre and I did a Whole30 one. And I was like, well, what am I going to eat if I'm riding bikes? And so I went and I found like rice cakes. And I was like, oh, I found the Alan Lim rice cake video or
Yeah.
thing. And I would start, I would finish the rides, like pretty much all the rides that you and I went on. I never finished hungry because I had started bringing real food. But when I was younger, it was just grabbing the bars and gels, and I was always starving when I got back, even though I had plenty of calories. And
Yeah.
that was this huge thing that I noticed is like I need real food, but also, like you said, if you go for an hour and a half ride, you don't really need much nutrition on the bike because your body stores it. Right.
Yeah. And I think, a couple of points to that, what I've found really in the last like year or so, I've fine tuned my diet more is that like, if you're hungry all the time, it just means you're eating the wrong things,
Yeah.
Because I watch what my kids eat and they're kids, right? So they're cereal and bread and sandwiches and peanut butter sandwiches. And, the peanut butter is fine, but it's just a lot of carbs and a lot of sugars and starches and stuff. And they're eating all the time.
Right.
Whereas like I get up in the mornings and I put a little bit of coconut oil and coconut milk in my coffee, a little bit of collagen powder. And like, honestly, I could go to lunch if I just didn't get bored and want to go make breakfast to break up my routine a little bit.
Mhm.
But I think what I found is like, as long as it's the right kind of healthy fats, just like a higher fat diet, actually you eat so much less and you're not hungry all the time. And like, I'm not saying this to brag, I'm just kind of maybe to drive home that point. Like I've maintained 10% or less body fat, and I have a digital scale that measures that. And I weigh in every morning, like effortless. And if you saw me eat,
Yeah.
if we went out to eat, you'd think, how the hell, right? But it's like when I'm home, it's a much different story and stuff. And so I think that allows you to cheat a little bit when you're out and about. But yeah, man, just like good quality fats is
Mhm.
I'm rarely hungry.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've found the same thing. And as I've gotten older, I've, I've become more in tune with what I need to eat, and it's the fuel. So if I think of my body as a high test engine, I'm not going to put like, was it used motor oil in it?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah,
put good
exactly.
fuel in it. And the more dense food that I eat, veggies, oils, meats, fruits, I don't even eat a lot of fruit, but the less hungry I am and the less, I mean, I haven't had any struggle with weight either because I'm able to keep my metabolism up, whether I exercise or not. And it's a very similar thing. And I know that some people might be listening going, oh, that's not me. Well, it's not easy. And and I know it takes a while, but it's fine. I think what you're saying is, as we get older, we have to listen and fine tune and adjust what we do, because we can't do the same things we did when we were 18.
Yeah, totally. And you can do it one at a time, right? Like you don't have to like cold turkey everything, like, I mean, I used to do milk and sugar in my coffee, right? And then one day I just like, you know what? I'm just going to stop doing sugar. And then for years I still did milk or cream, right? And then I was like, you know what? Like heard it doesn't really, you don't get the same benefits from the coffee. It binds with the antioxidants or something. So I'm like, all right, well, could have dairy, but coconut milk, man, holy cow. That's amazing. Like a good, like real coconut milk that's real creamy. Oh man, it's so good in coffee.
Oh, I love it. I like to get the cans that it's all thick, put a scoop in there. Yeah, it's one of my favorites too. Well, would love to know, like, what's your, like, so you live in downtown. What's 15 minutes away from you on the bike? What's the trail? And do you have any secret trails that you can share with people listening?
Oh man, secret. No, there used to be some off of Cone, and the property is up for sale for development, which is a little bit of a shame, but it is probably some prime real estate.
Right.
Those are the only secret trails I knew of. Yeah, no, but when I say 15 minutes, I'd be like probably heart screaming to get there in 15. So maybe like 20, but I can get to Country Park in 20 minutes from my house. And I think as that greenway further develops, going from downtown out to connect behind Target, which it's getting there, that'll cut a few more minutes off of that and really almost avoid all roads entirely, which is, it's taken a while for Greensboro to get there, but we're on the right track in terms of like sidewalks and greenways and, making this city a more, like pedestrian and bike friendly city, which is awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I think, even if we just drove to Target and got on the trail, we could spend 5 or 6 hours on our bikes almost without touching roads.
Easily. I mean, easily. When if you connect everything, that's the cool thing with our single track is you can connect, most of what we have just by crossing a street, and then you're on another trail, and then you cross another street, you're on another trail. And you get it all together. You could have 35-mile day.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Well, can you tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing with Cool Greensboro? I know you said it was you and your wife, Christy, were doing it, but it was really kind of her baby. But I'd love to know a little bit more about it, because I got an email from you guys and I was like, ooh, this is awesome. Oh, I need to get Tyler on the show and so we can talk about this. So can you share what you guys are doing?
So we've had this Instagram just at Cool Greensboro for a few years, and it's just kind of those things like we're like, there's a lot of cool stuff here. We'll just snap a photo of it now and then. And, without doing anything and like literally posting like maybe 1 or 2 things a month, it grew to over 1,000 followers. And now that we're actually putting some effort into it, it's growing a lot faster. But the idea was just like, why not just showcase what's cool about this town, these little things that we see, because we go on a lot of walks, we go for a lot of bike rides, we kind of try and find stuff that's off the beaten path. I mean, we, other than those burrito shops I mentioned, which are mainly travel, like we really don't eat at any chain restaurants ever, especially not locally, because there's just so much good food here, right? So it was just sort of a way to showcase that. And then with the email, it's like, look, that's not everybody's going to see what you do on Instagram. Some people are following hundreds of accounts, right? Let's just curate some of the best things and some stuff that we don't post on Instagram into this little newsletter that's only good news, right? Like it's only positive things about Greensboro. It's only featuring like really cool people doing something really fun. Like, I mean, I had no idea until we started doing this. Like there's a guy right over here in the apartments, City View, that has like a hugely popular YouTube channel, and he's based in Greensboro. It's like 1 million+ subscribers. And, it takes a lot to get to 1 million+ on YouTube. So it's just little fun stories like that you find out. And I think for all the feedback we've gotten is so good, because it's just a quick, fun read, So I'd say check it out. You can if you go to Instagram at Cool Greensboro, you can hit the little link in bio to subscribe to the newsletter and
that's awesome. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Do you know, do you guys have like a plan? Like, what do you want to do with it? Or is it just kind of sharing it? I mean, is there like a long-term, like what we should look out for type of thing?
I mean, like we've been playing around. It was something honestly, like I kind of wanted to also use the opportunity to teach my kids how to start a business. Like I've started a lot of businesses. And so, like my daughter and I are messing around with like a little squirrel logo for it. So we don't even have a logo for Cool Greensboro yet, but we're working on it. And they were like, okay, well, why don't you just call this hat company? Just see like how much does it cost to get patches and hats done? Just to, kind of teach them like, this is how you start a business. This is how you do this. This is how you find out this, right? So it's a learning experience for the family, something fun. And I think sooner than later, we'll have some pretty sweet like hats and patches and stickers for it, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, I'm excited to dig into that and see what you guys do with it in the next few years, because I know that we've chatted a lot, and Bike Rumor has been really awesome. You guys you've done a lot of other things, and so I'm always interested, in the tech side of things and business myself. So that's kind of exciting. That's really cool. So awesome. Tyler, is there, if someone wants to find out more about you guys, they want to check out Bike Rumor, Cool Greensboro, can you share, there's a best place to learn about you guys? Is it just the Instagram, or is there somewhere else that we should send
Yeah,
people?
I think so. Like, honestly, man, that's about the only channel any of us post on.
Okay. So it's at Go Greensboro on Instagram?
At Cool Greensboro.
At Cool Greensboro.
Yeah. At Bike Rumor. And then if you just want to like more traveling, or, I post a lot of just kind of adventure travel stuff on my own, which is just at Tyler Benedict. So.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And anyone listening, we'll put all the links in the show notes. Well, Tyler, is there anything else that you think people would benefit from that I forgot to ask you?
I mean, as far as Greensboro goes, the coolest stuff I've found is when I go out for a bike ride, like or a walk, like we'll just take a random left or a random right. And I literally, like, just the other day, I found this new little park. It's like this natural space in Greensboro with this cool little trail. And it's like off this little side street that I've always wanted to see, like, where does that street go? I know it connects from here to here, but I've never been on it. And I'm just like, I'll just check it out. I'd say just get out and take a random left or a random right. I mean, with our phones on us nowadays, like, you can't get lost, right? So yeah, just go explore, man. Find something cool. And if you see something really cool out there, like, tag us on Cool Greensboro, because we want to know about it. We'd love to share it too. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Tyler, thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your story with us and have a chat and catch up.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me. It was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is Dr. Aaron LeBauer and Tyler Benedict. This is the Healthy GSO podcast, and we look forward to seeing you on the next show. Go out, explore Greensboro, stay healthy, strong, and just keep moving. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Cool.